everybody. Welcome back to the Leo Effect. It is so good to see you. I hope that song got you all pumped up like it did me. That's always a great song to hear. That's made by Rocky Kramer. He's on YouTube. You definitely want to get over and check him out. Tonight, I have a super awesome guest. If you can see the little ticker down here below, it's an amazing, amazing rising star. I can't wait to talk to her and see all the cool stuff she's got going on and things that are coming up. And I think you're going to love her too. I'm friends with somebody in common with her, and he's a cool guy too. You can look for his interview coming up just in a little bit. But this is all about Chrissy Odinson tonight. So I hope you all are ready for this, because you're about to meet an amazing lady. So without further ado, I'm going to bring her up from backstage. Here is Chrissy Odinson. Hello, Chrissy. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, New York winters, just hanging out, trying not to freeze to death.
Oh, I bet. We've been experiencing a little bit of that here in New Mexico. It's quite a drastic change from Austin, what we're used to.
Oh, it doesn't get cold in New Mexico. Who are you trying to kid?
Well, up here in Taos, it does. We actually have snow on the ground here.
That's awesome, though. I mean, you guys started off over in Texas, and then you moved over to New Mexico. Was there any kind of like overlying reason for that you want to talk about, or was this just, you know what, let's change scenery?
I mean, I guess there's a little bit of both. We majorly moved here to kind of follow the industry. A lot of like Netflix, NBC, Universal have been, pumping a lot of finances into studios and stuff like that up here. So we thought we'd give a change of scenery. We'll get rid of some of this heat in Austin. But yeah, definitely see if we can make some waves over here in New Mexico. There's been a lot of good Westerns and Marvel studios and stuff like that have been coming out here. So
that's awesome. That's cool. I mean, it's good for you guys. Like, follow the industry, and with everything you've got going on, that's probably a really smart idea. So, but with all our small talk and pleasantries aside, kind of speaking on the industry itself, kind of leads me into my first question for you, which is, what made you decide to get into acting?
Well, I mean, I guess you can kind of say back when I was 8 or 9, we had this school play, and I was kind of an ambitious little girl. And the play was The Christmas Carol. And then I wasn't like too familiar with it, but I just like looked at the script and I was like, I want the most lines. And of course, the one with the most lines is Scrooge. And I was just like, I didn't even care. It was a male role. I was like, I want it. Let's do it. Ended up getting the role. And yeah, for a bunch of like 4th and 3rd graders, I played Scrooge. I would say that was probably my first introduction to acting. I don't have like too many like film roles. This is actually, I think Tony has talked to you a little bit about Myth Among Legends. That's where it's going to be my first acting debut as far as the film's concerned.
Right. And actually that is a perfect little segue to the next question, which is, what are your big projects coming up? So is there anything that you can kind of tell us about the role you're going to be playing, a little bit more about the movie itself?
It's a short, kind of fantasy based on a Viking story. My role is going to be an oracle. I won't go too much into the details, but, kind of like a witchy seer type role.
Cool.
And we should be shooting that hopefully in mid-February.
Okay. All right. And that's happening there in New Mexico, or is this going to be somewhere else? I mean, in my mind, I'm imagining New Mexico is like this high plains kind of desert area. And, when you think of a Viking, you think of snow and mountains. And
right. Right. No, I understand. That's kind of the magic about New Mexico. It's got like a vast difference as far as like you've got northern New Mexico, which is very mountainous. There's a lot of pine, Douglas fir. It's got like 3 or 4 major national forests up here, and that's where we are currently. And then kind of getting towards mid and south New Mexico, it like gradually changes into more of a desert type scenery. So yeah, I can see, like New Mexico is very famous for the Wild West scene where you see the desert and stuff like that. Not a lot of the northern parts, which look a little bit more like Colorado.
Cool. And are you kind of like brushed up on your Viking language, or?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been fascinated with the Viking culture. I myself kind of practice my religion with the Norse gods. So I've been studying it for quite a bit, at least 10, 12 years. As far as the dialect, I have been trying to practice a little bit here and there. We've been watching a lot of Viking movies, Viking TV shows, the show Vikings. I've found that their dialects were pretty spot on as far as kind of like practicing YouTube videos, of course, stuff like that. But
Yeah. Well, that's really amazing. You're really getting into the part. So
yeah.
that's kind of cool to me. I'm pretty fascinated with that region of the world and their belief systems and culture, and it's so in depth and so colorful.
Absolutely. It's definitely colorful. I guess I'd be kind of putting it lightly if you read some of the stories.
Cool. And so, being that it is a Viking film, it's kind of getting a lot of hype right now with, I mean, the show Vikings in general. I think Netflix possibly had one that was called Barbarians, and that was kind of the Romans versus the Germanic tribes. Not exactly Viking, but along the same lines. They make mention of Woden, which was the Germanic version of Odin, as we know. But anyway, so do you think this is going to be on par with that, being that it is a short film, or do you think this is going to be above and beyond because it's kind of a taste of what could be?
I mean, I have to, say above and beyond. I mean, I got to have that confidence, but definitely it's a taste, that it's going to make you want more. I was with Tony while he was writing the film. I was kind of, helping him along, like actually type it out as he's reciting it to me. And I don't know, it's great. I think the way it ends, it's going to pull everyone in, and they're going to wonder, whoa, wait, how are you going to do me like that? I got to know more.
Yes, perfect. And you had said before that this is kind of your breakout. This is your, getting into the acting kind of community. And so, being that this is your first, I'm assuming that you probably have some specific genre that you like, or is this just kind of your niche? You want to do fantasy kind of stuff?
As far as acting, probably I would stick along the fantasy, medieval, maybe historical. I even as a little girl, I mean, my dad, connected a lot with things like Lord of the Rings and King Arthur, and anything Viking too. We just loved watching, I guess, men fight each other with swords. It's definitely near and dear to my heart. My dad was a big role in kind of like developing my imagination because of that. We also played a lot of RPGs together, and it was like how we connected and stuff like that. So I would say, yeah, this is probably where I would stick as far as acting. But, I'm more behind the scenes than a lot of things. I myself am a writer. I'm currently working on my own script, and that's more of like modern kind of drama, little bit of romance kind of in there, but it's about my own experience with endometriosis. So I
Oh,
don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's a disease that affects mostly women. And usually it's like 1 in 10, sometimes more women actually have it. But there's not a lot of awareness on it. There's not a lot of treatment that works. You know, some things work for some people, but there's nothing that works for everyone. And I'm trying myself to do something, you know, to give hope, you know, to women that have it. Spread awareness, obviously, you know, because there's still a lot of women that go undiagnosed. And, you know, maybe someone will see this film and be like, wait, I'm experiencing these symptoms, and find the right person and get themselves a diagnosis.
yeah, that'd be great. That's powerful.
Yeah.
And definitely needed. You know, I feel like within the realm of medicine, a lot of people have no idea that they're
Yeah.
going through something until somebody points it out to them.
Right. I mean, the average woman, it takes them about 7 years to get a diagnosis of endometriosis. It took me 5 years, and I'm one of the lucky ones.
That's a long time to live with that kind of pain. I
Yeah.
mean, and you would think that how far we've come in medical and science, you would think they'd have better ways of detecting these things. But
Yeah.
here we I myself have a phobia of needles. You would think after all these centuries, they would have figured out a better way to get blood out of us. But, you know, whatever. Here we are. I just take naps every time they have a needle around me.
Yeah, I understand.
But, you know, moving back towards like kind of a lighter note,
Yeah.
do you prefer being an actor? I mean, I know you're still breaking into this, but do you prefer that to writing, or do you like them both kind of equally, or writing more?
It's kind of a tough question to answer because, you know, I haven't acted in, you know, quite a while. So this is kind of me like like jumping into the water, like leap of faith kind of thing, saying, can I still do this? You know, do I still want to do this? So I can't say I have a preference yet, because
Okay.
I haven't gone and done the acting yet. But, you know, see me after February.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be in touch. That's cool. That's cool. We can definitely reattack this after the movie. I don't know. Do you call it a movie? Do you just call it a short film? A short? I'm not sure the correct verbiage.
Technically, I think it's either short or short film, but
Okay. I mean, still, that it's gonna be. I feel like that's gonna be the start of big things for you. So it's gonna be
yeah,
cool.
super
Uh,
excited.
well, along the same vein, my next question for you is like, who are your favorite movie stars? Who would you like to work beside in the future?
Oh, Gary Oldman. I mean,
Oh,
he's
okay.
just amazing. Like, can we talk about how many different roles that he's played, and the type of character actor he is? Like, he has such diversity in his roles. It would be an honor to be able to work next to him. Um, yeah, definitely Gary Oldman.
Well, there you go. Maybe he can be the doctor in your movie.
I might pass out, but yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a very, very versatile actor.
Yes.
That's for sure. So that's cool. And you know that I think it'd probably be neat to see him in a role kind of like that. So, uh,
Yeah.
do you have like when you're writing or you're prepping for this role that's coming up? Do you have like a muse that you're trying to kind of channel?
Oh, um, well, as far as this role, I'd probably channel like the Norse gods. As you know, as I had said earlier, I do follow them as my religion. So in this particular role, it'd probably be either Frigg or Freya. I would try to channel them. But I'd say music is definitely a big inspiration as far as muse. I'll sit down and listen to metal one day, and then the next I'll kind of just change it up and listen to, something like Celtic folk music or Viking folk music, But definitely one of my biggest would be Catatonia. It's my favorite band, hands down, and they have inspired me to write so much in my life as far as poetry, my script, some books I've kind of started,
Right on. I've heard that there's even like Viking metal out there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. What Catatonia, what kind of genre is that? Is that like easy listening or something? Or like
No,
classical?
they're like, it's hard to put a genre on them because they've changed over the years. They're in a general sense metal, but they're very progressive in some albums, and then they're very melodic, and their name Catatonia, they put you in a catatonic state. They really do. It's just like cradles you, and you just feel wonderful, and I love it. I've been obsessed since I heard their first song, Idle Blood. So
brutal.
Yeah. They can be. Some of their earlier stuff is very brutal. They were very doom kind of metal, and they just kind of pushed on to more progressive style. So
Right. That was my sad attempt at being Nathan Explosion from Metalocalypse. So
I did get Death Clock. I saw them live. It was awesome. I started.
That's fantastic. Dang. Cool. Oh, well, we have kind of talked about all these cool things that you've got going on, all these little moving parts and bips and bobs. So one other kind of finalish question I have is shameless self-promotion, basically. And that's to just ask you to tell everybody who's watching and listening right now where they can follow along with you to see all these little things come to fruition. So you can just tell all your socials if you want.
Okay, awesome. So you can follow me on Facebook, Chrissy Odinson. My real name's actually Christine Farias. And that's where you can find me on IMDb, as well as you can find me on Instagram at Frig42. And then you can just follow Gibson's Gate Productions. I'll be active on there for quite some time. Tony and I like to do a lot of things together as far as film's concerned. But yeah, that's basically where you can find me.
All right, cool. And of course, I'm going to provide links to everything that I possibly can in the descriptions of the videos and the podcast. So, one click shopping, as it were.
Awesome.
This brings us to the absolute final part of the show. Okay. Now, usually I spin a wheel and let the fates or the Norns decide how this is going to play out. But unfortunately, I don't have the wheel with me. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you what I ask on my podcast, like just audio version, which is a would you rather question. Okay. Super simple, but kind of gets to know you a little bit better. So I'm going to ask the question and you just let me have it.
Awesome.
Okay. So if you had the ability to rewind your life or pause your life, which would you rather have and why?
Probably pause, just so I can take it all in a little bit more. When you're experiencing life, you miss certain details until you kind of go back and reflect. So it'd be nice to just take a moment and take everything in that you possibly can.
That's a really good reason for wanting a pause on your life. And once you've been somewhere, do you really want to go back? Well, I guess that's not true, because when you go on vacation, you tend to want to go back. But
Yeah.
as far as your life is concerned, I feel like going backwards in your life is counterproductive.
Yeah, no regrets here.
There you go. No
every,
record.
yeah, everything I've experienced in life has, shaped me to who I am today, and I wouldn't change that.
That is the most perfect way to describe it. Absolutely. So cool beans. Well, look, Chrissy, I want to say thank you so very much for coming on the show today. You have been an absolute pleasure to talk to. And I really, really cannot wait for the short film to come out. I will probably be the first one to watch it. So it's going to be really cool. Everybody make sure to click on the links and get over and follow along with everything Chrissy's got going on. You're not going to want to miss this stuff because it's really, really cool. So again, thank you, Chrissy, very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, that warms my heart. And thank you to all the listeners who tuned in and checked it out and gave us a little like on the screen here. Let me see if I can ding ding. You guys are awesome. I wouldn't keep this show going if it wasn't for your loyal support and just all the craziness you guys put up with. So thank you all very much for coming. Thank you, Chrissy, for coming, and we will see you all next time.